I'm Clint, and welcome to my first Vibrance live stream for the group based on the Facebook group. You go to vibrance.group. That is the actual address, no .com. It's just vibrance.group. It'll send you out there to the Facebook group. And this is a sort of sister project to the Normal Swatches channel, where instead of looking at art techniques and talking about theory and that sort of thing, we're talking about how to improve your art and your life in general through health and habits. I used to have pretty bad health, and changing my health and learning about how to have better habits and work habits, I have got a lot further in my life and had a lot more success in my career, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So I asked you guys what you wanted me to go over to start with, and that is my health. That's kind of what you guys said. You want to know about where I was with depression and what I did in order to get rid of that, kind of kick that out of my life, get more energy back, and how that affected one of the aspects of my life, primarily my art, but it doesn't really matter what you're doing, whatever your pursuit is in life. That's why I have life and pursuits listed. This is an art channel, so most of you probably be doing that, but maybe you're an athlete, maybe you sell cars. It doesn't really matter. We have a couple of people coming into the chat. Great to see you here. Swin, Adriana, Her Majesty, good to have you. How does everything look as far as the video and the sound? We'll just take 1 minute, do a check on that, and then we'll start going through the little slideshow. I'm a visual guy. Most of you are visual guys. So we will be looking at some pictures, and I just made lists so you can follow along, so you're not just staring at my face talking the whole time. So we got a thumbs up on the video and sound. Good, good. CS, good to have you. Baratus, good to have you. Hey there, sound is good. Awesome. Yeah, sorry about the slow start to the stream. We're about 10 minutes late, starting stream 15 maybe. That's because there's like 1 minute till the stream start, and the entire town power went out. I looked out the window, it was completely black. That's not the first time it's happened, but it meant that I had to reboot the computer, restart all the programs, and reset all my settings and put my stream keys back in and OBS and all that stuff. It does take a little bit to set all that up, but I think we're good. And I know a couple of people are not going to be able to stream in or join the stream live, but this will be recorded, so they'll be able to check that out later. Hey, oh man, we got quite a few coming in right now. That's awesome. Good to have you guys. Machininator, Andrea, good to have you. Kalina, Kaylin, Joshua, good to see everybody. Now, I will be taking questions or clarifications, whatever you guys want me to cover. This one primarily will be over, I'm going to say my testimony, my health progress. And next week we should be focusing more on some issues dealing with time management, procrastination, distraction, that sort of thing, but that's what we're going to cover this time. So I think it's quite time to get started. I just have this simple file set up in Photoshop. I mean, I'm an artist. I do that sort of thing. What else do you expect besides Photoshop? You think I'm going to actually use a proper program for this? No. For the first time, the stream is early in Europe. Awesome. Valentin, good to have you. Proxy. Alright, so yeah, Vibrance. So let's start here. Vibrance is the new sister group. Like I said, go out to vibrance.group in order to join. It's an open group. Just request to be joined to the group. And I okay everybody to come into the group. So yeah. My health progress. Alright. So here we go. This is where I was before. We're talking about just over 3 years ago. 3 years ago is when I started having change. It's when I started taking stuff and being mindful about my health and started seeing results. So this is where I was before 3 years ago. I was always tired. I slept 12 hours a night. I always had to take an afternoon nap. Varying degrees of depression. I did have suicidal thoughts. I was very apathetic. 2 to 3 hours of mental focus, low confidence and ambition. Now let's go through these. I don't want to hang too long on this. I think some of you know exactly what I'm talking about if you see this list, because you're probably there. I was always tired. It didn't matter how much I slept. I just woke up tired and I went to bed tired. And there was nothing I could really do about it. I slept 12 hours a night. I usually slept fairly well, but yeah, that's how many hours I logged. And then I would get to about 3 in the afternoon and I could not stay awake. I was so tired. So I would take about an hour afternoon nap. So that meant 13 hours a day I was sleeping. Varying degrees of depression. Now, I dealt with depression a good deal for about 6 or 7 years. 9 months of it was extreme depression. What you might consider severe depression. Where you're having like suicidal thoughts on a daily basis. You're so demotivated and you feel so bad that it's like you can't even hardly get out of bed. You can't hardly do anything. You start to not even caring about eating. You withdraw from any friends. You withdraw from your family. And you no longer can even take joy or feel good about stuff that you used to enjoy. Suicidal thoughts, never something I attempted, never something I'd go through. Just when you're really depressive, sometimes your mind can go to that sort of stuff. It comes through your thoughts. Apathetic. Apathetic is one I think people don't talk about a lot, but that is where you just don't care. And for a lot of times, that's where it was. So once I got through severe depression and just dealt with mild depression, sort of kind of learning to cope with it, I learned how to just be apathetic. So instead of feeling like absolute crap, I just started feeling like I didn't feel anything. And, I'm going through this not to be like, oh, this poor me. I'm saying this is where I was, and that's not where I am anymore. And I want you guys to know that if you're dealing with any of this crap, then there's hope out there. And I got through it, and, you can do it too. So, 2 or 3 hours of mental focus, that was a big shot on my career. Because I could only do 2 or 3 hours of good drawing or study or whatever it was per day. Low confidence and ambition. I didn't want to attempt very much. I didn't have the desire to attempt very much. I didn't push myself. I didn't... and that goes for... Let's make this a little broader than art, right? Okay, let's start with art, though. This is me not learning more in art. I had completely stagnated where my skill level was. I also had very low ambition when it came to ongoing projects. No thought really about where my life was going. I wasn't trying to direct my life to a certain goal. I didn't set goals for myself. I just sort of dealt with each day as it came. And also with like dating life. Low confidence and low ambition can just kill your dating life. And, I didn't have confidence going into relationships. And that would kill relationships. Then, okay, this last point. Extense, Lou, Clint, CM Graves. Just quick shout out to you guys. Thanks for joining in. Don't have to have pain to be sick. Now, see, I was dealing with all this stuff, and I didn't consider myself as being sick. I didn't consider myself as being ill. Why? Because I wasn't in pain. I thought pain was the indicator that something was wrong. I just thought, being tired and not being happy was part of just getting older. So don't let pain be the only indicator that something is going wrong. Oh, that is not what I meant to turn off. This one right here. I got a quick comment. Hello, Clint. I've been going through a breakup with the love of my life. Man, I'm sorry. That's pain. I feel depressed and lost. My art started and grew with this relationship. I don't want to lose. Any advice? You know what? Toss that back to me at the end, Sergio, and we will handle questions more along that line at the end. So, yeah. Just keep that, maybe copy it, and be ready to paste it back in a bit later. Okay, let's go on to... Now, this is stuff that I learned afterwards. And this is what was going on. So, here we go. I'm going to pull in... I did not make this. I pulled this off the internet. I just thought it was a nice diagram. How the gut bacteria affects the brain and body. You know what? Actually, let's put that down here. Let's cover... I'm sorry. I got those out of order. All right, we'll look at this. So this is what was going on. I did get a comment earlier talking about, do I feel guilty about going through depression? And that's a good question, and it's a topic that's worth touching on. We'll talk about it here, and you guys can read over this while I'm talking about it if you want to. Pamela, good to have you on. And that is depression, at least in my case, and I think, I'm not a medical person. I'm not making a medical claim. In my experience, it seems like depression a lot of times is based more on health than it is mental, like a mental weakness. I thought I had a mental weakness. I was just not a strong person. And that's why I wasn't happy, or that's why I couldn't deal with stuff, and that's why things seemed difficult. And since then, I've learned that that really wasn't the case. That's not what was going on with me. And once I learned about this, then that guilt went away, and I was like, this I can handle. This is like a physical, tangible something that I can deal with. And once I took it on and understood that, like I said, I kicked it butt. And I got in shape, and I started getting my life together. So let's some of the things that it's saying here. Gut bacteria affects the brain and body. We have more bacteria than we're human. Mounted research suggested that bacteria living on our digestive tract play a significant role in overall health. So some of the things that can cause or affect depression, schizophrenia, obesity, colon cancer, arthritis, IBS, like ulcers, Crohn's disease, Parkinson's, autism, anxiety. I didn't have the classic anxiety like anxiety attack, but I did deal with anxiety in that problems would constantly race in my mind. Mistakes that I made was constantly racing in my mind. My mind just could not let go of mistakes, and had a very, very poor self-image, and that sort of anxiety, just a constant unease. So down here is a cool little graphics. There are thought to be more than 5,000 species of bacteria. This is what was going on with me, and probably for a lot of the people that deal with this same sort of thing. If you don't know already, this is what's going on. In your gut, there is good bacteria and there's bad bacteria. The good bacteria basically works in a sort of symbiosis with your body. It helps break down the foods with you and makes it easier for you. The bad bacteria act like little thieves, and they just leech the nutrients out of your system, and they don't help you out any. And that's what kind of comes from that. You can look up this stuff a little bit later. I'll give you some stuff on that. These are some other symptoms. I didn't deal with all of this, but these are some other things. So the gut imbalance of having an overgrowth of the bad bacteria, that's what I had. And that's what was throwing my system out of whack. These are different things that can all be symptoms of that same core issue. So maybe you don't have as much depression, but you have mood swings. Maybe you find yourself hyperactive instead of lethargic. Both could be caused by the same thing. Increased belly fat, cold hands and feet. Now, I did have cold hands and feet. My hands and feet would get really cold. Let's see, any of these others. Now, I mainly listed the ones that apply to me, but these are all similar things. Okay. So nervous system. This is something else that I learned afterwards. And this is the way it is. Once I started feeling better, I was curious about why this was working. Like, what was going on in my body that all of a sudden, by making these small changes, I was feeling so much better that after all of these years, I was feeling so much better. Nervous system. I wasn't aware of it, but you have two nervous systems. Your central nervous system, which would include like your brain and your central nervous system going out to your extremities, down your spine, that sort of thing. And then your enteric system. And as it shows, like over here, this is from Scientific American, it's borrowed this little picture. The gut contains what you can consider a second brain. The enteric nervous system lining the gut contains 100 million neurons, which is more than the spinal cord of the peripheral nervous system. That is the first time I ever learned that, is after getting into this and looking into it. I never learned that in school or anything, but I thought that was pretty cool. So, your gut actually sends far more information to your brain than your brain sends to your gut. And that's also one of the reasons that if you feel butterflies in your stomach, yeah, it's because your gut is handling those emotions, not your head. It's sending information to your head saying you're a little antsy. The greatest concentration of serotonin, which is involved in mood control, depression, and aggression, is found in your intestines, not your brain. Which is interesting when a lot of antidepressants are focused on raising the serotonin level in your brain. Which obviously doesn't make sense because most of it needs to be in your gut, not your brain. Therefore, some of them are not very effective. Well, that is my understanding. Again, I'm not a licensed medical professional. Moving on. Quick question. Do I work out? Yes, I do. We'll get into a little bit more of that here in a second. Depression has many origins. Yes, it does. The issue can be health-related, but doesn't necessarily have to be. In my case, I'm completely healthy, but still have depression, several phobias, and PTSD. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that is why you should talk to a doctor. That is why you should have proper medical consultation before you get into medical stuff. I'm just giving you an overview of where I was, how it resulted in my life, and how I dealt with it. And if that is applicable to you, or if you can learn something from that, awesome. Okay. Catalyst. Now, this is what made the change for me. A friend recommended that I try this stuff. It was a group of things called the Triplex from a company called Plexus. And she recommended it to me, and I ignored it. Because I was like, I'm not sick. I've got this. I can deal with this. And she recommended it again. I was like, nah, I'm good. Thanks, though. And eventually, after a year of her recommending me to try this, I finally tried it. And I wanted to kick myself because it had such a big impact so quickly, at least in my case. And I wish I had just believed her and tried it. But anyway, so the Triplex is 3 different items. The Probiofier, the BioCleanse, and Slim. You will see them there in the picture. And they basically address 3 things. The BioCleanse kicks out the bad bacteria. The Probiofier puts in good bacteria. And the Slim balances the blood sugar and cravings. So, the bad bacteria, when you have an overgrowth of that, which is often called candida overgrowth or leaky gut, then that's what can cause a lot of these problems. And you can also get into that if you have, okay, there's several things that can cause it. One is just a bad diet, and most modern diets aren't that great. We eat a lot of artificial stuff, processed stuff, and so you're not getting a lot of good bacteria. 2 is antibiotics. In my case, I did have antibiotics because of various times I had hospital stuff. Antibiotics will wipe out all the flora, all the bacteria in your system, bad and good. It's just that unless you make an effort to put the good back in, the bad is probably going to flourish, which is what it did for me. And so the BioCleanse gets rid of the bad stuff. Probio puts in good bacteria. And the Slim, okay, now this is the deal. Slim is named Slim because it's mainly recommended to people for weight loss. I didn't need weight loss. But the sugar and blood sugar in relation to the bad bacteria, they're very connected. Now, the bad bacteria thrives on sugar. It's just like, that's what it wants. That's what makes it grow like crazy. And so a high sugar diet, which is very easy in the modern culture, will just make that bacteria flourish. Obviously, we don't want that. Now, you do have a blood sugar level. You do have a sugar amount that you need in your system. And so what is going on is like this. My body wants my blood sugar here. And then it starts to get a little low. Maybe I get up in the morning and, during the night, it's dropped a little bit. So what's your system do? The system says, I need some sugar. And it sends a little signal to you. You interpret that signal as, I need to go get a soda or a piece of cake. In my case, it was usually soft drinks. And I would go drink my Dr. Pepper. And what would happen? Would my sugar go up? Absolutely. But it wouldn't just go up. It would be like spike it out of the roof, right? Because it's so heavily sugared. And then your body makes insulin in order to drop the sugar level back down. But again, it usually yo-yos. So your blood sugar is doing this instead of this. And it should be very steady and small. Instead, it's just going crazy. So what Slim does is, it's all natural. All this stuff is all natural. And that's something else I do like about it. And it balances your blood sugar naturally so that you're not spiking it. And when it's not spiking, you don't have the need for sugar. So since then, I don't drink soft drinks. Not because I don't like them. I just don't feel like I need them. I don't eat much sugar at all. Not because I just wanted to make out this huge diet change, but literally my body isn't signaling me to need sugar. So I rarely have it. I just have it occasionally, just for the taste. And, those cravings sort of went away. Okay. Got a comment back here. Let me quickly look at the chat, see if I catch anything that I need to hit. I get happy when eating ice cream. Yeah, ice cream and soft drinks are both my my weakness. I like like both of those. Can you take Slim if you're already diabetic? Yeah, in fact, Slim was originally created for those that are diabetic. And I have a friend who is diabetic and has been for like 20 years. And he started taking it, and he's halved how much insulin he has to take. And I have another friend who was the same thing. He's diabetic for like 40 years, and he's halved how much insulin he has to take. So I'll look into that. I would, Plexus, the Plexus site there, that company, they do have plenty of information on that. I would Google what type of diabetes you have and the Slim. But yeah, that's what it was originally made for. You're being mind controlled by sugar-loving bacteria? Dude, that's not far off. You're not actually that far off. If you're diabetic, you probably want to ask your physician about that. Yeah, it's always a good idea. Yeah. And there's a lot more physicians now that are becoming aware of the product. And they're starting to recommend it to their patients as well. Can't you do this? Eating a balanced diet with a lot of veggies, easier said than done, but still. Good point. Yeah. And let's touch on that, because that's something I thought about, and that's something I asked my friend about. So, obviously, a veggie, fruit-based, healthier diet is always going to be better than, a heavily processed, sugar-based diet. But I would recommend also getting some stuff that does this stuff, or something that does the same thing, because what you'll find is if you have an overgrowth of the bad bacteria, it will prevent your body from making use of a lot of the nutrients in a good diet. So maybe you put in 100% good nutrients of what your body needs. Your body is in such bad condition, and this bacteria is mucking up the system so badly that maybe you're just getting 20% of the goodness out of it. So, if you can get rid of the bad stuff, put in the good stuff, then all of a sudden that new good diet is going to be way more effective than it would beforehand. And could you get there the same way? Yeah, you could. You probably could. It would take you a lot longer, and it'd be a lot harder to kill off the bad stuff. You'd have to take some pretty serious cleanse of some kind in order to clean out your system. But cleanses are usually a good idea. Again, look into it first. Don't just go on a crazy cleanse. Oh yeah, I'll also mention something else. Okay, we'll get into it in the next one. We'll get in here. Okay, now afterwards, what was the results? I took that stuff. What was the results? I remember, and this was a big deal. It might not seem like a big deal. But I remember that it was right about 2.5 weeks after I started taking this. I was in my kitchen washing dishes, and I noticed that I was smiling. I was just happy, and nothing particular was going on. I just noticed that I was smiling, and that about made me start crying, because at that time I literally could not remember the last time that I smiled for no reason. Like sometimes, watch a funny movie, something would make me laugh and I'd kind of chuckle. But to smile by myself for no reason, just because I was in a good mood, it had literally been years. So that was a really big thing for me. I went from being really tired all the time to being awake and alert. I went back to a normal 8-hour sleep cycle instead of 12 hours a night. I no longer needed an afternoon nap. Depression, for me, cleared up right at about a month. Just gone. No more feelings. Not even mild depression. And no more suicidal thoughts coming through my head. This is another one. I don't think people talk about this one as much. And that is not just physical energy, but emotional energy. I used to be so apathetic. I just couldn't summon the emotional energy to give a crap about anything or anybody. And it got to where I was having to fake interest. I was having to fake emotions in relationships, even with family, to pretend like I cared when I didn't feel anything. And now I had emotional energy to care. Mental focus went back up. I had rising confidence and ambition. So how did that affect things? Well, afterwards, with more energy, feeling better, I started training to do a Tough Mudder. If you're not familiar with what a Tough Mudder is, that is a 10-mile obstacle course race. That's a photo of me finishing the Tough Mudder. I took a little selfie there. And I trained for 8 months and did that one. I did a smaller one in between there. And I had a blast. I tell you what, I finished the 10 miles, the obstacle race. I loved it. I've been doing races ever since, the obstacle mud runs. I loved that. Like I said, I was talking about I didn't have emotion and care. I started giving a damn, if I could say it that way. And I started, giving a damn about where my life was going, about getting better in my art, about what shape I was in. It was about getting back to having self-growth and learning. I started working longer and focusing longer. All right. So instead of just having 2 to 3 hours of focus a day, all of a sudden I was now, able to have your normal 8-10 hours. In fact, now it's more than that. But I was working and getting, honestly, if I wasn't getting 3 times as much work done, I would be surprised. And it wasn't because I was working so much faster. My attention was just sharper and I could make better decisions quicker for a longer period of time during the day. And that's also where the cost comes in. At first, I was hesitant about the cost of having to buy this stuff on a monthly basis, but I quickly figured out I more than made up the cost of the product by how much extra work and how much more effectively I worked due to taking that and getting my health better. So, better art, bigger commissions. I started giving more attention to my art and trying to improve. I started watching videos. I started doing more studies. I started trying harder. I started putting more time into my pieces. And you know what? Clients started noticing. And I started picking up things like planeswalker images. After what was it at that time? 5 years I'd been doing images with Magic. Never had a planeswalker. Always had common and uncommon cards. Which, I mean, awesome is great. It's still Magic. But, you always want to do one of the big ones. When my art started getting better, I started landing that. And I did her, I did Nissa. And then from there, I went on to do the box art. I mean, that's as big as they come with Magic. Big marketing piece. And since then, things have just been so much better. I think I've been doing a lot higher quality images, and I've been getting higher quality commissions. Also, personal projects. I started giving a crap about my own projects and not just doing what I was handed. That's when I started getting the YouTube channel back up. Swatches. Everybody's watching right now. That's when I started feeling better. You go back to my really early ones, and you can see that I had a different way of speaking. It was very monotone. It's because I was very depressed at the time, and I was trying to hide that. Ebooks started, getting back into doing some of my ebooks. It just still took forever to do, but I got my projects off the ground. Other thing, my mother and my brother, I didn't pull the picture up here, but I started having great results with getting my gut and health, getting energy, and doing Tough Mudders and stuff. And I recommended it to them, and they started taking it. They both lost 30 pounds and started getting better health, more energy, and we've all gone and done obstacle races and runs together. So that is an overview of what's going on with that. I just have had such a huge change in my life because of health. Now, habits is also a really big thing, and after getting more healthy, I've started learning how to try to prioritize my time more, how to get more results out of my effort. We'll talk about that stuff later, but we're going to be going more about this. Let's see, what product are you talking about? Can't see it in the description. Let me pull it right back up here. I'll show you Catalyst. This is the stuff that I took. This is one that my friend recommended. I still take it. So I have been taking this consistently for the last 3 years. I just notice such a big change when I am taking it and when I'm not taking it. And I gladly take this stuff on a daily basis. So this is the triplex. It's got those three things. Those three things just work together so well. They've got other stuff too. And depending on where you're at, maybe you want to look into some of the other stuff. But if I was to make a general recommendation, probably those. But you might want to start with less, than the recommended. Work up to it. All right, let's go back down here. Q&A, upcoming topics. We will take Q&A here. I just want to give you a quick list here. These are some upcoming topics that we will be covering with Vibrance. And I do plan on having Wednesday streams that are only Vibrance topics. We'll be going over work topics such as work-life balance, time management, setting goals, positive influences, directing your life, as well as other health issues such as attitude, depression, more things into gut. Okay, let's talk about Spartan training real quick. Talking about working out was a question. Do I work out? Yes, I do. And I don't know if you've heard of it, but Spartan is a obstacle race. It is slightly more, I would say, militaristic and the particular obstacles that you have to do. They're pretty grunt, strength-based stuff. And I did the trifecta, which if you do all 3 distances of the race within 1 year, you finish the trifecta. And I'm going to do that again for 2018. So I am training on getting back up to shape. I sort of took a break in training doing different moves and stuff for the last 6 months. But that's what I'm focusing on. And okay, let's take your questions. I'm going to jump over to my webcam so that I can pull the other page up full screen. And it'll be a lot easier for me to read your comments. Alright, let's pull this over here. Yeah, and that is... Let me fix this resolution. That resolution's really low. That's kind of bothering me. I'm going to adjust the camera here for just a moment. It might black out on you. I've got to toggle it to the other one and toggle it back. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's go with that. Now I can move that out of the way. Alright, let's take a look at some of the comments. I will try to address what I can. I'm going to go up in here for a while, see if I can catch some of the earlier ones. Do you have an Amazon link I can buy it from? No, the link that I show out there would be the best place to go get it. I'll put it in the chat if you want to just copy it out of chat. Let me pull up that file. Vibrance Notepad. Yeah, if you want more feedback or like details, if you want more like, talk to me about the products or, I don't know, more detail about them or something, feel free to message me or continue that conversation on in the Facebook group. We can go over stuff like that out there. There. All right, that's the link if you were wanting to pull that up. Okay. Probiotics only exist in fermented foods. That is where a lot of them come from, yes. So you'd have to eat things like Greek yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha. Yeah. Now, as for me, I don't really like the taste of fermented stuff. So I take them just in a little capsule. I just take 2 capsules at night right before I go to bed. Super easy. And the only thing I do eat is some yogurt. I'll mix yogurt in with some like granola and stuff, but I don't really care for sauerkraut or kimchi, kombucha myself. But hey, if you like that stuff, you can go for it. What's your thoughts on goji berries? I know that I've had them, but I can't really remember what they are. So I'll have to pass that question. I'm not real clear. I don't have no experience with goji berries. Can we ask questions here? Yes, you can. Is there anything particular about this brand over other probiotics? Yes, I did look into that originally. I was curious whether I could find cheaper, better options somewhere. And this one, I've tried other probiotics. I didn't get as good results with them. I think this one has, I don't know, better, higher grade biotics or more per capsule, or I won't tell you the science of it. What I can tell you is that these work. All right, these work and have worked consistently for me for the last 3 years. They worked for my mom. They worked for my brother. They worked for my friends. I had some friends that were almost on death's door from illness, and they started taking this stuff, and it really helped them too. Just turned in after a day of work, and a lot of the stuff you're going over is basically what I've been dealing with the last 3 years. Adam, sorry to hear it, but there's hope, dude. And you don't have to deal with it. I thought that all that stuff was stuff you just had to deal with. And I wish somebody had come along and told me, just start taking some of this stuff. And this is what's going on with your health. And this is why you feel this way. I wish somebody had done that. And no one did. Well, finally my friend kind of suggested it to me, but now it's the other way, right? Now it's me telling you this is what's going on. You're informed now. You can tackle this. There's something that you can deal with now. It's not just a weird emotional thing. Beer is fermented though. Yeah, there's just a couple of other factors going on with beer though. That's a good try. Clint's going to be filming his new workout training tape soon, coming with lots of jazz coming off VHS only. Yeah, I'll have to get my Speedos out. Mart, I probably need some backups. In the video, you always have the good backup workout people. And so we'll have to get together and see about making that happen. If the bad bacteria is inhibiting the good stuff from doing their job, then it sounds like the triplex setup covers more steps than just probiotic capsule. Yeah, it does. Putting in good biotics will help. All right, and that's what I saw some people doing. Now, I've seen people try to skip around this and skip a step. So instead of trying to clear out the bad bacteria, they just start trying to put in a lot of good stuff. And you are likely to see a result there. Or they did start seeing some results. But I think you see a lot more, and they did see a lot more once you take all three of them, because they just work in conjunction so well. Kalina says, I got to try because me and my family's health actually isn't good. We're having lots of stress. Maybe this can be the cause of it. Could be. This is something else I mentioned in a stream over on Twitch, I think last time. And that is when I was going through depression, whether severe depression or with a mild part afterwards, it wasn't that I didn't have problems and I was making it up as if I did. There were problems. And there were things that should be dealt with. Relational things and work things and habit things and emotional things. But when you feel bad, it just exasperates everything else. So, I don't know. I'm just speculating. But usually when people feel like crap, they're more irritable. They have a shorter fuse with each other. They're more likely to be more bickery and have less patience with each other, have a little less grace with each other. But when you're feeling good, when you're in a good mood and you've got energy and something kind of goes a little sideways, it's not a big deal. You can just slough it off. And that's the sort of situation you want to get into, where all these little problems in life don't become big things because you feel bad. Question, Clint, other than probiotics, what is your general diet like? Are you following any diet in particular? Good question, Daniel. Yeah, that's kind of a yes and no. I'm not following one where I'm not counting my calories and my macros, that sort of thing. I try to be health conscious, if we can use that phrase. So I make sure that I am having a lot of protein, particularly because I am doing workouts. So quite a bit of protein. I try to really reduce the sugar intake. I do allow myself to have a little sugar. I don't have it over here. I just have some like semi-sweet chocolate that I eat along with my nuts, and that's usually enough to kind of just satisfy my little sugar tooth, sweet tooth. But other than that, I would say making sure you have, my diet consists of mainly protein, veggies, and fruits. And then I use carbs like pastas, chips, and that sort of stuff to offset that, or to just sprinkle that in there. And then sugar really is just it's an extra, it's just your dessert. Occasionally you go out for something nice. I have SIBO, small intestines bacterial overgrowth. I have to take a naturopathic antimicrobial supplement because antibiotics aren't effective. I can't eat any sugar and very little carbs. Well, that does sound like a pain. I'm not going to just recommend everything to you. I would Google, see if you can find how SIBO goes along with these products. They might be an exception. They might have something else that goes along with that. I'm not familiar with it, but I've seen so many people get so much better, and along with, improving other stuff in their health. How about brown sugar? Is that bad too? Brown sugar is pretty bad. There are alternatives. If you want to still be using sugar, say you like doing cooking, look at coconut sugar. And that can be a good option. It has a pretty good taste. Otherwise, you have stevia. Now, stevia, I don't mind the taste of stevia. Some people, they don't like it so much, but that's also an alternative. Seems to be common with depression as it is for me at the start of 2018. Depression is really common nowadays. And I'll be straight with you. I didn't talk about having depression for several years. I would say several years. About a year afterwards. And depression still has a stigma about weakness. And, enough of that. That's crap. That's crap, man. And I know that I would rather be open about it so that somebody else could be free of it than me to keep my mouth shut and them still go through it. Because severe depression, some of you in this chat right now or watching this video later have gone through or are going through it. And it is unbelievably bad. I do not wish severe depression on anybody. And if I can help anybody avoid going through more of that, I'm here to help you. This is like a personal thing. That was the worst time in my life. And I don't want anybody else to have to go through that. And coming out of that and getting to do work with magic and big projects and being able to start a YouTube channel and being able to start this thing, these are all so great. I have so much more energy and I have so much more thankfulness in my life now because of all this. I can't live without sugar. Help. Pamela, I don't know if you're saying that as kind of tongue-in-cheek or serious or trying to pass it off as a joke, but if sugar is very addictive, more addictive than some actual drugs. So feeling like you can't live without sugar is a legit issue, and that's no joking. So if I were to just try to use self-will to stop sugar back then, I probably couldn't have succeeded very well. And what I found was this. I started taking the Slim, which helped to balance my blood sugar. I didn't have the desire for sugar. The cravings start going away because the trigger that your body normally has to let you know that it wants sugar goes away. So do you still want it? Yes, but mainly out of habit. Just because you have acquired a taste to it, not because you really feel like you need it anymore. So I think you'll find that you just don't feel like you want it as much. You don't find yourself thinking about going to the store to get something sugary. And the same thing with the diet. right? I eat a much better diet now than I used to. In the same way, I feel like I want more fruits and vegetables. I didn't just one day say, I'm going to start eating better. This is my new plan. No, I just, over time, my body just starts feeling like it wants those things instead of the other things. And I think that's a good way to do it. Just sort of, listen to your body and what it's asking for and go along with that. I'll back up. Got quite a few comments here. Let's see. It was a true joke, but I do a lot of exercise. Exercise is awesome. Just know that exercise is not going to clear anything up down there in your gut. I know what you're talking about, says Frefo. Yeah, okay. I've been depressed for a long time, since I was 15. Now I'm soon 26. Dude, that's a long time. I said no to medication. I did as well. So it's my fault as well. Maybe I should take it after all. I tell you what, this stuff's a lot cheaper than some medication. Medication, again, I'm giving you my opinion. Medication masks the problem. This stuff actually works with your body. This stuff isn't some sort of magic, right? This stuff isn't some great new miracle product. I'll tell you what the miracle is. It is your body. Your body is phenomenally amazing at healing itself and getting back on track if you supply it what it needs. And that's what these try to do. Medication tries to, in a lot of cases, just mask the symptoms. And I feel much better dealing with the root problem than the symptoms. I have a lot of plans, says Feng Jun. Like, if I do this or that, then my life will be better and I will feel better, and I never practice. Is it just laziness or really depressed? Probably some of both. If I do this or that, or my life will be better, or I will have no practice. It's just later. I will say that I had a much harder time making decisions when I felt bad. When I was depressed or depressive, I had a lot more indecision. And nowadays, I can make a lot better decisions very quickly. And that's also some to do with habits and learning how to be a better decision maker, how to set better priorities. So I would say try to address both. I have been on a keto lifestyle for 3 months myself, and so I understand. The keto diet, keto is kind of like the... Is that like the... Oh, shoot, I cannot think of the word. Like the old caveman diet? I cannot think of the word. But it's like just proteins and fruits and veggies. If so, that's what I try to go for mainly. I watched a documentary that said sugar lit up all the same parts of the brain as cocaine does. Yes, Sam, actually that's a really good comment. I watched the same movie. It is a movie worth watching. It's a documentary. I believe it's just called The Sugar Movie. And, dude, you want some insight about what's going on in your body and why sugar is so addictive and the sugar as a whole? Go watch The Sugar Movie. It'll be worth your time. Learn. That's also one of the problems was I was just so not informed. And now I feel much more informed. I know what's going on with my body. I know why it happens. And I know what affects it and how and why. See, let's somebody on this. Paleo, yeah. Okay, paleo was the one that was coming to mind, not mind. All right. Paleo, I have looked into that. I tried doing that for a little while. The ketogenic, let's see. All right, then, yeah, I'm not clear exactly what ketogenic is then. Daniel says it is still processed in the exact same way in your body, though honey or sugar. If you want to use a sweetener, a good alternative is honey. Honey's a little bit better than just white processed sugar. Another option is pure maple sugar, and that won't spike your blood sugar the same way. I believe that to be true. I'm pretty sure it's pure maple sugar. I would look into that, but that could be an alternative. And my friend made some really good cookies with maple sugar, and you wouldn't have noticed the difference. It said, Masterman says, I cold turkey stopped drinking soda and kept an eye on my sugar intake about a year and a half ago. I'm skinnier, but I still feel tired all the time. All right. Well, that could be due to, what do you call it? The insulin. When your body has had to pump out insulin to a great deal for a long time, it becomes insulin resistant. And it can also wear out your, I want to say your lymph system. I don't think it's your lymph system. I'm sorry, guys. Some of this stuff, it's been a while since I read over it. But yeah, you can still be tired because essentially you've worn out that system in your body. I would look into that. Or contact me later. I will be able to pull it up. I just can't pull it off the top of my head. Message me later or pull me up on the Facebook group, and I'll connect you with what I was thinking about on that. Sometimes it's telling you, Morzalis says, that it wants calories or that you're experiencing a situation that your body associates with consuming sugary things, feeling sad and going for the ice cream. Yeah, it does. Your body, it's kind of interesting. Like, your body recognizes when things are off, and it will send you a signal that you interpret, and your body doesn't really care what the answer is. It just doesn't want you to feel bad. And so if you are depressed or feel bad, then it says, what you need is ice cream. You'll feel better if you eat ice cream. And scientifically speaking, ice cream makes you feel better than anything else faster. So, yeah, you'll go get some ice cream. It doesn't really know that eating ice cream is going to make it, less healthy, but yeah. Keto makes the body go into ketosis, which makes the body use fat and protein instead of carbohydrates. Keep under 30 carbs a day. Meat. Okay, yes. All right, I remember reading about that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Meat, fat, and green vegetables. Okay, cool. Lately, I've been going through some moments of depression when it comes to my art. Having a perfectionist mindset and mixing it with constant self-doubt makes it almost impossible to go and improve. Yes, it can. You might not know it now, but my mother would easily attest to the fact that I was an extreme perfectionist when I was younger. And I'll tell you what, it was a double-edged sword, and most of the time it wasn't worth it. Most of the time, being a perfectionist made art and drawing and the progress very difficult. So it pushed me to get a lot better very quickly, but I just didn't enjoy myself very much. I was so hard on myself. So Joshua, I might suggest that you have a little leniency on yourself, all right? And allow yourself to make some mistakes. Because if you could get so scared of making a mistake and failing the piece that essentially it starts to inhibit you. You don't feel comfortable being free, being more spontaneous with it, being more creative with it, because if it doesn't work out, you're going to feel bad. And so it makes you more timid and less creative. But if you can allow yourself to be less hard on yourself, then you can be more creative. You can enjoy your images more. Something that I had to remember was, if I don't enjoy making it, I shouldn't enjoy. If I don't enjoy making it, I shouldn't expect someone to enjoy looking at it. So if you're sitting there and you're fighting with it, no one else is probably going to enjoy it. So you go into the attitude of painting it that you want the person to have when they look at it. Glad that I hate sugar products, so just haven't tried all of them. Yeah, you're probably not missing out on too much. My depression comes from low standards of my local marketing designs. Sometimes I have to sell out. Sometimes you have to take, projects just to pay the bills. That's true. But always try to do your best, though. All right, I think we're right about an hour right now. Any other major comments, questions? I think I've covered about everything. Let me look through my notes to see if there's something I have overlooked. I felt like there was something over here that I did not open. Oh yeah, I totally sorry, I totally skipped a slide there. I forgot to add it to my queue. I'll jump it back over and I'll show you the slide that I forgot. I sort of talked about it, but I just didn't show it to you. Where did OBS go back to? Yeah, so what was happening? That's what I kind of talked about. I was like, where did that go? Yeah, the mood is controlled largely by the gut health rather than your brain. And so what goes on down there with your food system affects your mood more. Overgrowth of bad bacteria caused those different things on me. We already looked at that little picture that showed that outline. The condition was known as candida overgrowth or leaky gut. You can Google those words and you can get more information on that. Overgrowth caused by poor diet, antibiotics, and sugar. The system can't use a lot of good nutrients when it's in that shape. And you can't lose weight with high insulin. Oh, okay. That was something I forgot to mention. So, when your sugar level is spiking up and down during the day, drinking soft drinks, for instance. And let's use my mom as an example because this is something that she had to go through. My mom was a little overweight and she wanted to lose weight, so she started exercising. And she exercised about 4 times a week with a personal trainer for 2 years. She lost no weight. I didn't understand it because I knew she was busting her butt in that gym and she wasn't losing weight. And why was that? Is because her system was flooded with insulin. She drank soft drinks that kept her insulin level high. The body will not lose weight when it has high insulin in its system. And what happened? I recommended, hey mom, you might want to try taking the stuff called Slim to balance your blood sugar. She started taking it. She lost 30 pounds. I mean, she started losing weight quick. And the difference was huge. And it's just all of a sudden, the Slim balanced the blood sugar, insulin level dropped. She no longer needed to drink soft drinks as much to balance it out. And then she started losing weight because she was still exercising like crazy. So yeah, that was related to all of that. All right, that was the one thing that I forgot to touch on there. Veronica says, "Hello, Clint. Recently, I found your channel. I knew you because I played Magic and knew your work, and I'm an illustrator trying to become a professional." Awesome, Veronica. Thanks for joining. And yeah, this should be the right place. If you're trying to go pro, then we got a lot of videos out here. We have weekly streams. You also, if you haven't already, or if there's some new people here that don't know, I have started a Twitch channel. I try to stream out there 2 or 3 times a week. That schedule is sort of staggered, so just go out to twitch.com, twitch.tv/swatchesart. I'll have a description there in the link there in the description, and you can follow me out there too. Depression often stifles my art. Yes, it does. Some days I can do it, and other days I can't stand to look at my own stuff. That is also absolutely one of the things, but I tell you what, it's so much better when you get past that. And I mean, yeah, you still do crap work, right? It's not like a magic bullet and you start painting wonderful. But when pieces go bad, it's not a big emotional hit anymore. It used to be, it's so hard to deal with the, pieces not turning out. But nowadays, you just kind of slough it off and you get back to work. As Clint said, report these things to your doctor. Almost all these symptoms can stem from sleep apnea as well. Yeah, do talk to your doctor or do your own research. Absolutely. I'm finding an internal struggle to improve my art and achieve good habits in my general life. I fight with discouragement, and at times it's as if everything in my head is entangled. Yeah. We'll get into more of that, sort of just head attitude and I would say motivation as well. And advice to keep clear ideas and motivations. Any ideas to keep clear ideas and motivations? For me, I'm a real write it down list sort of guy. And when I write it down, it clears up my mind. I'm not having to remember as many things. So if you don't already, I would say start making lists. And start planning them out so that you have steps. Not just, I want to reach this goal, but what's between you and that goal? What are 5 steps that you can take in between here and there? Another thing is, and I'll talk about this in future ones in more depth because this is a big one too, but that is having good input into your life. All right, if you are surrounding yourself with people that are unhealthy, that are unhappy and negative, and you're having this constant negative input in your life from TV, from internet, from your workplace, from your friends, from your family, whoever you're around all this time, that's just pumping negativity into your life, then yes, it could be hard to stay motivated. So what you have to do is make an effort to bring in positive influences. So, hopefully that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to encourage you. I'm trying to give you some hope. So there's a lot of good places to do that. Look for motivation, self-growth videos here on YouTube. Get some good audio books on that. Go find local classes and go take a class on how to learn something new. When you learn new things, then your confidence level goes up. You're more motivated to keep going when you have little successes. That's another one. And this is a key one for me too. And that is celebrating small successes. So, this channel, I'd love this channel to be 100,000 viewers. I think that'd be awesome. That is one of my goals. But you know what? I can't get up in the morning and be demotivated by the fact that it's not 100,000. You know what I get? I get my small victories. It's getting that next live stream done on time. It's getting 1,000 views on that next video. Whatever it is, I set some small ones to step me up to that. Small successes can be really good to keep your motivation up. Creative stuff is one of the few things that helps against depression for me. Awesome. But I easily get burned out because I spend all my energy I have at it. Yeah, well, let's get you some more energy, man. No, let's get you healthy and going. And something else. If you don't know, healthy, almost not healthy, fit. A fit body, like fit muscles, if you start a training for something, running or whatever, they produce way more energy than sedentary body. Okay, even if you have the same diet, even if you take all the same, I don't know, vitamins or whatever, if one person is fit and the other one is not, same weight, fit muscles produce way more energy. So do you want more energy? Start exercising. It will start feeding it back into the system. That's where some people, they start going to the gym, and then they just start going to the gym even more. And they start going to the gym even more. It starts feeding itself. It's a cycle. A fit body produces more energy. More energy goes back to the gym. Around and around. Daniel says, thanks, Clint, for sharing your personal journey and dropping the knowledge bombs. I love that. That's a great term. On health. Not enough artists talking about this. Good luck. Good health. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, a lot of people aren't. And I would love to know that there's not a single person that watches my channel that deals with depression. I would love to know that every single person out there is healthy and active. And you know what would be great? I would love for some of you guys to be joining me and training for Spartans this year. I would really look forward to, and I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to have a video about my Spartan training, where I'm going, what events, and I want to see some of you there. You know, get your health in shape, get your art in shape, and we're going to meet up at one of these Spartan events, and we're going to do it together. It'll be awesome. Bama Jamma. I love that name. That's a great name. Bama Jamma. I would love it if you could publish those slides somewhere. I didn't catch the whole stream. You know, good point. I will put a link up to those slides in the Facebook group. Let me make a note of that so I remember to do that when I'm finished. Slides on Facebook group. Yeah. Joshua says, I really need to try and loosen up with projects. It's almost ironic considering when I draw for fun, like making silly doodles with friends, I have great enjoyment. Thanks for the advice. Yeah, Joshua, I can really say that one because that's what I deal with. I have a tendency to go like really serious-minded when I'm working on my art stuff. But generally, my best stuff always comes when I'm enjoying myself. So when I'm doing it with a smile on my face, got some good attitude going into it, some good vibes, comes out in the picture somehow. Do I have a set routine to your day? I just became a full-time freelancer, and that part is a little difficult for me. Caden Arts asked that, and yes and no. I try to keep a routine as possible, but being a freelancer, you are always having to adapt that. And that is one of the things about setting time and setting your day. We'll talk about that. Anything quick that I can go over on it. Time blocking is something you want to look into. And managing... Yeah, that's kind of going out of the topic of this. I'll put it down as a question. Bring that one up to me in the Facebook group. I'll address it more clearly later. Clint, I'm going to recently subscribe to your videos. Time Devourer says, hey, thank you. Thanks for subscribing, man. I love it. You are very inspiring and very down to earth. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're finding the channel inspirational. That is good motivation. I think you can reach it. Good. Thanks, man. Send your art. Oh, it just jumped on me there. Steroids create energy, Pamela. Yeah, it's just those dang side effects, man. Sam says, the journey of 1,000 miles begins one step. Do small things. It's amazing how fast those small things pile up into huge accomplishments. Dude, that is some solid advice right there, Sam. Completely agree. And, you know, if I was asked 3 years ago to change my life from the way that I was doing it to the way that I'm doing it right now, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Because it was too big of changes at one time. So that's not what you want to do. What you want to do is start a new habit. Maybe that new habit is taking this product in the morning, before you start work. Maybe it's starting to go walking for 15 minutes at lunch. Whatever it is, you implement a new habit that's positive, and you let that become part of your routine. And then you add another one, and then you add another one. Because if you try to introduce too much too fast, scientifically, the studies prove that you're most likely not going to do it. But if you can incorporate them on an ongoing process, it can have really big things. And yes, you're absolutely right. You do not have to have huge changes in your life to have huge results. Asian name that I can't pronounce because I don't read that language. You said, wouldn't it be awesome to make a challenge out of it? Something similar to Sketchfit from Ahmed Aldori. I recognize that name, but I'm not familiar with what Sketchfit is. Then we all motivate each other to get fit. I love it. Yes. Yes, I love that. Yeah, we could start our own challenges for the Vibrance streams. So Swatches has their normal weekly art challenges. We should have our own either health or habit challenges. That's a good idea. I'm marking that down. Yes. Health challenges and habit challenges. All right, well, I'm going to challenge everybody. Look into this stuff. Be honest with yourself and take time to get your health in shape. Start making some adjustments, all right? And I'll come up with some better ideas, all right? I definitely have some like workout stuff we could do. But yeah, I love that. Great idea. I'm only 16 and my parents are worried I spend too much time on the computer and not enough time outside exercising, that I won't have good habits when I'm older. What basic habits should I start with? Oh, good question. Mart's Journey says that. I'm only 16. Parents are worried to spend too much time on the computer and not enough time outside exercise. What are you doing on the computer so much? If you're an artist and you're doing art, then I would suggest you at least be doing some traditional art. So go get your sketchbook and go outside and draw some trees. Draw some animals. Do some plein air painting. So you can still be getting your art done, but being outside is also good. Or if you're going to be on the computer, it's really easy to be distracted and lose time on the computer due to social media. That's not just because you're 16. I'm 35. I still am susceptible to losing myself in the black hole that is social media. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to get on the computer to say work on your digital art, turn off the internet. I'm not kidding. You unplug your internet or you turn off the Wi-Fi. If you're getting on there to do digital painting, then do your freaking digital painting and don't tempt yourself to get lost in Facebook or, YouTube or whatever, unless you're watching my stuff, obviously. That would be good. Other things, get in the habit of having some sort of exercise going on. Now, I don't know what shape you're in or where you live or anything, but personally, I love mud runs, obstacle runs. If you want to start training from one of those, that's cool. I like them because I'm not a real sporty person. I'm team sports, that sort of thing doesn't really interest me. I do love that. Also, you do need to take breaks. So at least every 45 minutes, you need to get up from the computer and go do something else. Now, I have a pull-up bar that I put over my doorway, and every time I go through that doorway, I have to do some pull-ups. And that's a great way just to keep me, going into the day, get some blood pumping. And it also, about the time thing, set a timer. Set it on your phone. I'm going to say her name when she'll wake up, Alexa. And I tell her to set a timer for 30 or 45 minutes and to let me know. and then I'll get up at that timer because your eyes need a change. Your eyes need a change focal distance. If you're just sitting in front of the computer for 3 hours, it can affect your eyes because they're constantly on one exact distance. All right, a couple of ideas. Maybe those help. Is there a way to get... Oh, whoa, okay. Jumping all around. Is there a way to get notified when YouTube live streams start? Yeah, I believe so. There should be like a little bell icon that you can click on, and that should alert you or send you a... I think it sends you an email when a YouTube starts. Because I follow some people that do live streams. Yeah, look for a little bell icon. I believe that's what it is. And you click on that. Alessandro Gava says, I'm not very hefty. I think you're trying to say healthy this period. I have fever. But in my opinion, if the food have a good quality, you can eat little portions of everything. Oh, yeah, moderation. Always a good rule of thumb is moderation on everything. You don't want to just eat vegetables. You don't want to just eat sugary stuff. Yeah. Bell next to the subscriber button. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of people for Afro recommending a Discord channel. I think it's about time for me to do that. I'm going to put that on the list too. Discord. A lot of people interested in Discord. I'll probably toss that together hopefully pretty soon. Or I agree with the Discord server. It's a good place to organize. Stay in touch. Yes. Buy an iPad and go outside. That's your suggestion, Pamela? I'm not sure that's exactly the result we need there. I'm so bad when it comes to breaks, says Margaret. I will be on the computer for hours drawing. I hear you. But I tell you what, you don't want to look up a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now and realize the health problems that occur because of that. If that becomes your habit, that's going to start multiplying into some crap. And the thing is, you either will make time to deal with it and make better habits now, or you will have to make time and deal with it later. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a lot better if you deal with it now than when you have to deal with it later. Getting up every 45 minutes is a good idea. Yeah, it is. People who sit a lot are much higher risk for deep vein thrombosis. Yes, they are. Good point, Sam. I used to take a walk every 45 minutes. My doctor told me that this burned a crazy amount of calories and kept my metabolism much higher throughout the day. Yes, it does. Yeah, I have the pull-up bar that helps me just take a walk around the building, do some push-ups, just get the blood going, all right? You don't have to do a whole workout routine. Just move around a little bit so you're changing your posture and you're getting the blood going. Felicia Lena says, hello, I study, God, again, jumping around on me. I study animation. I like having a story behind my drawings, etc. And so when I'm not feeling psychologically well, I end up having severe art block for a very long time. What could I do? Oh, okay, interesting. I study animation. I like having a story behind my drawings, etc. So I'm not feeling psychologically well, end up having a severe art block for a very long time. What can I do? Okay, yeah, I was in a similar position when I was going through the depression, having a real creative block. It was much more common for me then than it is now. And my workaround at the time was that when I felt better, I would do a lot of brainstorming and like character designs and compositional designs, that sort of thing. So that when I felt bad, I would go back to one of the sketches and I would work those up into my finished pieces. So I was relying back on an idea that I had already established. Now, usually when I go back to a sketch, I can recall what that sketch was supposed to be. You know, what it was going for. So I'd fall back to that. Make sure that you keep copies of your old stuff. Whether they're digital, make sure you keep them. Even if they're not great, as long as the idea is there, then when you're feeling bad, when you're not feeling very creative, when you're hitting that wall, then go work up one of those old sketches. And that way you're sort of just skipping that initial artist block and jumping right into it. Do you have any I'm sure I butchered that. Do you do any traditional? Yeah. If so, what's a good watercolor set from beginners? Is praying a good product? Oh man, it's been a while since I did watercolor or bought watercolor. My rule of thumb is if you're going to pick up a set of paints, even watercolor, they come basically in two different kinds. You have student version and you have normal watercolor, normal sets. Don't buy the student stuff. And basically anything. Don't buy student color pencils. Don't buy student oil paints. Don't buy student watercolors. Because those products all have a lot more filler in them than they do pigment. So, if I don't know what the ratio is, but they have, say, 20% more filler. The colors are just going to be duller. It's going to have a pastier consistency. So, I would say any name brand is probably fine. Yeah. Unless you're, now, if we're talking about a little kid, you can get them the student stuff. All right, if you're getting some watercolors for an 8-year-old, and just because they have a little art class, they don't care. They're going to just have fun painting. But if you're going to be doing it for you, and maybe you're an adult or at least you're in high school, might as well just get the normal watercolor sets. Mart's journey says, I love the outdoors. I'm just best at digital. Seems like I should start a summer plein air painting project. That would be great. I plan to do so now that I'm back here in Tennessee. There's some really nice area around here to do some plein air. We also do have, if you do have an iPad, then you can pick up the Clip. I think it was Clip Studio that I started using. I was really happy with. Let me pull that up, double check that. Yeah, Clip Studio. And if you have an iPad Pro that's pressure sensitive, that can work really well. So, yeah. Aunt Sav says, is it possible to contact you for cooperation? If so, what is the best way? Just shoot me a private message on Facebook, or you can... just shoot me a private message on Facebook, or here on YouTube as well. Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of cooperation you're talking about, but yeah, we can chat through it. I found out I get too nervous when I can't draw what I want. For example, today I tried to draw a hyena portrait with charcoal, and I messed up, and I get so nervous that when I figured out what I did... Oh, it continues down here. Wrong. I was so nervous I couldn't work next 3 hours. Do you have the same problem? How do you solve it? I can't say that I have the same problem. You get nervous and can't draw what you want. What are you nervous about? Are you afraid of failure? Is that it? Is it being afraid of failing the image? Clarify that for me. Time Devourer says, how do you deal with following a routine or fitness and also art? I work as a graphic designer full-time. I do some weightlifting, but I find it hard to work on personal projects due to a lack of time. How do I deal with following a routine of fitness and also art? I just block out different times in my day. Now, I generally work out in the evening. Some people are real morning people for their workouts. I generally like to immediately knock out some of my business art projects in the early part of the day. It simplifies things in my mind. I don't have to have a lot of focus when I work out because it's just very physical. It's not a mentally taxing thing. So I generally shift that to the end of the day, but that's totally up to you. Another thing is setting a time when you're done working. And for freelancers, it looks like you might be a freelancer, especially if you work from home. we have a tendency to not give ourselves a time off at the end of the day. We just can work until we fall asleep, essentially. And that's no good. Because if you don't set a deadline, you're going to just constantly be pushing how much time you give yourself. So, I get up in the morning and I think about, all right, when am I cutting off at the end of the day? I don't always, but I should. And then I know at that time, that's when I'm going to work out. That's when I'm dealing with these other things. That's when I start to allow my mind to wind down at the end of the day so I can get to sleep. And if you do not have... another thing is, if you have a hard time committing to a fitness routine, get a personal trainer or a buddy. All right, personal trainers can be great if you do it for a little while, and maybe you don't want to commit, personal trainer for a year or something. But if you do it for a month, 2 months, 2 months is probably better, because you will be committed to show up, and that will start you having the habit of exercising at a particular time and making the time for it. So when you're paying somebody, when you're putting money out of your pocket for a cause, you generally make time for it. And then 2, personal trainers will teach you the proper form so that when you do continue exercising, you're not going to hurt yourself because you learn the proper way to do it. Bojan says, wrong with such, how do you, okay. Let's see, quick. Okay, it jumped on me again. I was about to answer a question there. Pamela says backup sketches. Yeah, so what do? You log your backup sketches, like I said earlier, when you have a mental block, or when you're feeling really bad. Well, the same thing. I've had the same thing just like when I got the flu, and I was, taking, I wouldn't say taking drugs, taking, normal meds for a flu, and my head's really fuzzy, and so sometimes I'll fall back on backup sketches that time too. Gonzalez says, quick question, have you go to college? If you're asking, have I gone to college? No, I have not. I don't find it completely necessary for my particular field. There are some fields that you really do need to go to college. I think there are better options out there nowadays for this particular industry. Felicia says, thank you so much. That was really helpful. Well, thank you, Felicia. I'm glad you found it helpful. Myra says, Swatches, just saying hello. Hi, how's it going? Since it's the first time I got on the live broadcast, it's 3:30 a.m. here. Thanks for sharing your experience. You rock. Thank you, Myra. Thank you. Thanks for staying up for 3:30 a.m. You know these are recorded, right? You can watch it tomorrow. But I appreciate you tuning in. And a friend of mine quit sugar. She was always very emotional and sensitive, and she did it cold turkey. And it took about 4 months of feeling super terrible, but she's feeling much better now, especially emotionally. Yeah, Anna, it can be done cold turkey, absolutely. And that's actually a good point. And that's also why I said, if you do go on and try these products or similar products, ease into them. All right, because think about this, all right? Your system has been in pretty bad shape for probably several years or many years. And then what are you going to do? You're going to stir the pot up. You're going to shake all this stuff loose. There is buildup and there is toxins that your body has just been pushing into the corners and hiding under the rug, as it were. And you're coming in there and you're doing a shakedown. All this stuff is going to start coming into your system. Like her, sugar addiction is a real thing. It's like a drug addiction. And when you stop that addiction cold turkey, your body doesn't immediately adjust. And your body is not immediately okay with that. So, you can do it cold turkey. And if you want to deal with that, hey, that's up to you. But I think it'd probably be... Like, I started taking the slim stuff, and I started going down to almost no sugar, but it was not a problem whatsoever. There was no struggle about it. It was not a deal, all right? So that might be a lot easier for you. Pamela says, Clip Studio is great. Yeah. You can use it for a couple of months for free, and then you have I'm sorry, I'm starting getting the hiccups. And then you have to start doing a monthly thing, but it's a very nice program for the iPad. Anxiety can stop the creative process. Anxiety, yeah, it can. White Tennessee, former East Tennessee hillbilly. White Tennessee, I lived here about a dozen years ago, and I've just got some good old friends here. I like living in the country. It's a pretty location. And, yeah, decent climate. I think I'm afraid of failing, says Bojan, in regard to the previous question. I just figured out I don't have problem with messing up little drawing, but big ones that need hours to do, I'm afraid of messing up. Thanks a lot. Okay, all right, that gives me a little more to work on, so I can make some suggestions on that. Afraid of failing, for sure, is a big killer of anything, any ambition, any goal, especially of artists, because our pieces are generally pretty emotionally tied to us. So, a couple of things. One is, if you don't do a big painting very often, then when it fails, it hits you extra hard. So, if you do 2 big paintings a month, and I sort of talked to this on a previous stream, but it's a good point, and a lot of people probably haven't thought about it. If you do 2 big pieces a month, and one of them fails, that's not the right way to hold my fingers. Sorry. And one of them fails, you just failed half of your big images for that month. And the weight of that is, you feel like a failure. But what if you do 10 a month, and one of them fails? Big deal. 10% failure. Whatever. 90% of them succeeded. Also, you are less likely to fear failure if you're doing it all the time. If it's a unique thing, you're going to be more nervous about it. Take live streaming. All right, when I started live stream, I was very nervous about it. And I just overthought it. And I stumbled over my words more. I was very self-conscious. And I wasn't very comfortable with it. Nowadays, I mean, it's fine. I don't have any problems about it. I just make sure I try to have all my notes together. But I know what I'm doing. I've done it before. It's not going to surprise me. And I can go in it with more confidence. And how you can go in it with that confidence can be a big factor about how well it turns out. Another thing is, you might look at doing more studies. So instead of jumping from a little sketch to your big image, do some studies in between there. So you do a value study, do a color study, do 3 variations of it. You don't do them full size. You do them like maybe 1,000 pixels. You do it small so that you can do them fairly quickly. But if you can set your direction and feel comfortable with how you're going to handle all the different factors, how are you going to handle the values? How are you going to handle the lighting? How are you going to handle the colors? And then essentially when you get your big image, all you're doing is implementing those together. You're not experimenting with it because you already have the answers. And that can lower your anxiety, and you are likely not to fail as much. Also, it's also one of the reasons that people do processes like lines to black and white and then add color to black and white. If you can break it down into smaller steps, then that is less nerve-wracking. It's easier to handle each one little step at a time than trying to do several steps at once. All right, a couple of ideas. I think if you implement those, you will see that you have more confidence. It will not be as difficult emotionally to go through the process. It might take a little longer at first because you're having to do more work, prep work. I tell you what, when you're prepped, you have more confidence and you're less likely to fail. All right, moving on. Some more questions, comments. Small steps, man, says Sam. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, small steps. Martin, I've heard stuff about waking up super early in certain hours of the day where people are most creative. Heard before 7 a.m. and after 7 p.m. or from 4 a.m., do certain hours yield creativity for you? That might be true in general. I haven't read a study on that topic specifically. I generally am just more creative when I've had a good sleep and when I have been eating good. If my diet has been off for a couple of days in a row, I generally start feeling not as good. I'm not quite as creative. I'm not running on full power. So yeah, I'd just say for me, it's getting a good night's sleep and also having a good work environment. Like if my desk is cleaner, if I have fewer things that are non-work going on, if I can have, the laundry taken care of, if I can have the kitchen clean, if there's just less background things going on in my mind, I'm generally freer to be more creative. Gonzalo says, thanks for making my days, watches. Well, Gonzalo, thank you for joining the stream. Danilo says, Trinidad, just sharing my experience with mental illness, something that really bothers me is that I'm treating panic disorder. Medicine helps with anxiety, but productivity is really lowered. Yeah, a lot of medicines can kind of, fuzzy your head up some, and it's difficult to work through that. I'm always going to advise looking into, having you look into the medicine with your physician. So what you'd want to do is you go out, you get the website, you get the list of the ingredients and what the product is, and you take them to your physician and say, hey, I'm looking at taking some of this stuff, and will any of this affect the medicine that I'm taking? Now, most of the time, it's not really going to affect anything. It's not going to negatively affect your medicine. That's my understanding. Okay, again, I'm not a medical professional. But have him look at it, double check that it's not going to, if you're actually taking ongoing medicine. There's actually a scientific reason. Wow, okay, again, jump. Reason survival instincts. Okay, you're talking to him. All right. What do you mean by slim stuff? You mean like slim quick? Margaret, no. The product from the company that was recommended to me, the one that I take for balancing the blood sugar, it goes by the name Slim. It was originally created for diabetics to help balance their blood sugar, but they just found that most people ended up taking it for weight loss, so they just renamed it Slim. And that's what it is. Yeah, it's a plant-based supplement. I didn't memorize the ingredient list, but you can look it up and you can see exactly what's in it. But yeah. All right. Got a question from Thomas. Hey Thomas. Yeah, how's it going, man? What's your opinion on sparkling water? Well, if I'm thirsty, it's awesome. Aside from that, I don't guess I have too much of an opinion on it. I would pick sparkling water over tap water. I know that some places put a lot of stuff that shouldn't be in your water in tap water. So, yeah. 10 large. Oh yeah, okay, Veronica. When I said 10 large pieces a month, it's probably a little ambitious. Let's just say like 10 drawings a month. Maybe that would be better. I did make a bad artwork challenge, which helps my fear of failure in my artwork. I did a make bad artwork challenge. Interesting. So you intentionally made bad artwork to get over the fear of failure. Interesting. Okay. You should do a Vibrance Discord server too. Yeah, that's the idea. I'll probably split it between Vibrance, just with the health and habits, and then those just wanting to go over like art techniques and portfolio reviews, and that's fairly different. That's why I have them on 2 different pages. Yeah. How do you handle oh gosh, again jumping on me. How do you handle 10 years of drawing and painting but still sucking? Well, you start by identifying why you're not getting better. All right, now you can either sulk over the fact that you're not where you want to be, or you can get your butt in gear and start doing something about it. And I tell you what, you're not going to keep going forwards if you're looking backwards. And that sounds so cliche, but I tell you what, it's the truth. I can look back in my past and bemoan the fact that I essentially lost about 5 good years to depression. Or I can get busy doing something with my life. So that's going to be one point. You didn't get to where you wanted to be and the time that you wanted to get there. Okay, big deal. Now what are we going to do? What are you going to do? Now, as you know, Einstein said, paraphrasing, I remember the exact quotation, but insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And if you have been doing the same thing for the last 10 years and you're getting the same result, you need to do something different. And that's probably going to come in the form of better education, better habits, different drawing techniques. And it means recognizing that you're doing something wrong. All right? You are probably have bad habits in your drawing. You have blind spots. You can start identifying where those blind spots are. Start putting more time into education. Take some classes. There's a lot of great online classes. And there's art challenges like the ones that I do, or bigger art challenges that have, actual big prizes. So pick up some books. I find that there's a good number of artists out there that try to improve for years and years, but they don't go get any other education. They just try to improve on their own, and that can be done, but it's going to be a lot slower. Learn from other people's trials. Other people like me have spent years trying to learn stuff. I'm trying to, teach you some of those things in my videos so you don't have to take the same amount of time to learn it. Bojan, it's 3 a.m. You got to get to bed. Well, thank you for joining. I hope to see you in the next stream. Silva is here. What? Finally. Hey, Jay Welsh. Hey, nice to see you. George, 84. Good to see you. This is a paper that supports the scientific evidence of what you were saying about the gut bacteria in relation to the mood. Yeah, there's a lot of evidence out there about the mood and gut. And if that interests you at all, just Google it. You will find a lot of information. And it's cool. I was enjoyed reading it afterwards to see what was going on in my body. Kalina, good to see you. You got to pull off, I understand. Let's see. Yeah, actually, we're running almost 2 hours now, and I've got to finish up some drawings tonight. So I'm going ahead and wrap it up. Looks like a lot of you are having to get to bed too. I totally understand. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And if you have not already sent in, I want to say a submission, haven't clicked to join the Facebook group. That's where we're going to be keeping a calendar of what's going on. Going to continue conversations on this sort of stuff. I'll be sharing links to some of this related things. Also, some videos that I recommend on health and habits. Then go out there. Also, unless you hear otherwise, I plan for this to be a weekly stream. So count on next Wednesday about this time to have another Vibrance stream. I will have the exact time on the Facebook page. So, guys, I gotta tell you what, life is so much better now. I am, it's kind of cliche, but I'm blessed. I enjoy my work. I've got the energy to do my work. I'm looking forward to my training, even though I've got a long way to go. And I'd love you to be on this journey with me. Right? I would love to talk with you guys. I'd love for you guys to come back with, Clint, I watched your video. I went out there. I tried the stuff that you talked about. And I started working out. I'm focusing so much better now. And I just took on this piece. I've got my new commission. I just got into my first piece with magic or whatever it is. come back and tell me this. I expect to hear this from you guys. And I want you guys to say, Clint, I'm going to join you in the Spartan race. I'm totally out of shape. I feel tired. My art isn't going good. But I tell you what, some point in this year, I'm going to join you in one of those Spartan races. Let me know. Help me. Message me. Tell me what I need to do to get to that place. I will do it. That's what we're here for. All right. Thank you for joining. I will catch you guys later. And I have to have a new phrase for vibrance. It's not, keep drawing, but stay mindful. I'll think about it. I'll come up with a new phrase for next time. All right. Love you guys. Have a good night.